The Boston Celtics are ready to make their fans happy. I've been reading the comments, I've been seeing everyone preaching, and today we got a video that all the fans want to see. The Celtics are interested in Andre Drummond. The fans have been outraged. They've been wanting Andre Drummond on the Grant Williams traded player exception. Fans have wanted him in years from Boston, and it finally could be happening this offseason. We'll be breaking down what could be happening with the Boston Celtics involved with Andre Drummond and some other names ahead of today's video. Welcome to Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Veliz. But before we dive into this Boston Celtics content, I'd like to say 79% of you guys are not subscribed. We want to get that number up. We want to make sure we get more and more people subscribed to this channel. So if you want to stay up to date on daily Boston Celtics content and coverage, hit that subscribe button, as you definitely will not regret it. But let's dive into this Andre Drummond news. Make sure to grab the snack, as today is going to be a jam-packed episode. As like I mentioned in the intro, is Andre Drummond possibly coming to Boston? Now, Andre Drummond has been a defensive beast for teams like the Detroit Pistons, Cleveland Cavaliers, Los Angeles Lakers, and now he is on the Chicago Bulls. And he's absolutely looking like a beast on that team, playing a great backup center role. And when Nikola Vucevic went out, he was putting up fantastic numbers for the Chicago Bulls, putting up 20 and 20s, 10 and 10s, double-doubles every single night. And it's looking like he possibly could be the solution for the Boston Celtics backup center. If we want to look at this post from the Dunk Central, we can see that the Celtics showing interest in Kelly Olynyk, DeLon Wright, and Andre Drummond, per Mike A. Scotto, who works for HoopsHype. He was getting some news and buzz. We'll be diving into those other two guys as well. But we want to keep looking. Evan Cedery, who's a big time reporter for the Indiana Pacers, also broke out some news as well, talking about how the Celtics, Mavericks, Lakers, and Suns have also expressed interest in Andre Drummond. So we got two reports today that the Celtics are interested in Andre Drummond, which means the Boston Celtics have definitely shown some key interest here, and the fans, including myself, are definitely ecstatic. I can know from when he played on Detroit, I was a big Andre Drummond fan. Obviously had some foul issues, wasn't the best offensive creator, but the Celtics always needed that rim protecting center, that guy who could go up there and get those boards for the Boston Celtics. And on that big time contract and as a big time player, it was necessary for the Boston Celtics, but it didn't seem like it would be the most likely outcome. But obviously, we've seen Andre Drummond, roll decrease a little bit in the past couple of seasons, kind of retorting back to a backup big, and that is desperately what the Celtics need. We've obviously seen Luke Kornet have some great stints, Neemias Queta have some great stints for this Boston Celtics team, but with the Boston Celtics having this traded player exception and needing someone desperately to get rebounds, as we've seen in the last couple of games, especially versus the Los Angeles Lakers and in the first quarter versus the Memphis Grizzlies last night, that the Celtics do have some trouble getting some defensive rebounds and allowing opponents to get multiple offensive rebounds to get multiple second chance points. I do believe that Andre Drummond could be that key stop to helping out the Boston Celtics. If we want to look at Andre Drummond's stats this season, you guys can obviously see 7.7 points, 8.3 total rebounds, 0.5 assists, off of 55% shooting from the field, 0% shooting from three, and 55% from the free throw. His free throw number is going up. His field goal is around the same. Obviously, Andre Drummond's not going out there and shooting threes, so that is not something that the Boston Celtics fans have to worry about. But like I said, with the Boston Celtics having some front court issues with their health, obviously Al Horford getting up in age, being a little bit older, needs to rest on those back-to-backs. Kristaps Porzingis, we've seen deal with a plethora of injuries so far this season, and if we keep dealing with this kind of, resting and nurturing him, getting closer and closer to the playoffs, it's going to be necessary that the Celtics have some front court depth. Luke Kornet in recent games as well has seen some injury history as well, with Neemias Queta having to step up. So a guy like Andre Drummond who could come in, fit in for this Grant Williams TPE, and definitely be a game-changing piece for this Boston Celtics at the backup center, could help move mountains, I personally think. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below about Andre Drummond, but personally, I think he could be a great backup center for this Boston Celtics team. And I think he kind of brings what Luke Kornet and Neemias Queta already have. Rim protection, shot blocking. He's going to be getting, like I mentioned, those second chance points, eliminating those from the other teams by getting those defensive rebounds for the Boston Celtics. He does have some fouling issues. We have seen him play a little bit lackadaisical on defense, and the Celtics, in the comments I'm going to see the Celtics have outplayed Andre Drummond before on the defensive side of the ball. He's a defensive liability. We don't need him. But there are some key aspects that Andre Drummond that brings to the Celtics team, and I desperately think that Celtics need that rebounding from Andre Drummond. And like I mentioned, he's on a cheap deal. The Chicago Bulls, a team looking possibly to be selling maybe not all of their guys, but some of their low-end guys like Andre Drummond, who could definitely help a championship contending team, especially on his cheap contract of $3-4 million. The Boston Celtics could snag that up of Andre Drummond, have him be their 15th roster spot, keep Neemias Queta as on a two-way contract, have him play in the G League, have him develop, have him get ready for next year. And then when we get to next year, if you want to keep Andre Drummond, you can, or if not, you can let him go and move Neemias Queta into that role, and hopefully he can be that backup center. We want to keep looking at the other two guys that were mentioned in this video, in this article as well. The other two guys that were mentioned that the Celtics are interested in are Kelly Olynyk and Delon Wright. Now, if we want to look at Kelly Olynyk, he's had a fantastic season, and him returning to the Boston Celtics would be a great storybook moment. 8.1 points, 5.1 total rebounds, 4.3 assists, off 56% shooting and 42% from three. You guys can see that his numbers are through the roof on efficiency from shooting, as he's having one of his most efficient seasons this year. The only problem with Kelly Olynyk is Danny Ainge is the Utah Jazz general manager. He knows Kelly Olynyk is worth some sort of value on the market, and he makes around $12 million, and he knows that he could possibly get maybe a bad contract or two, or even a first-round pick, or maybe a couple seconds for a guy in Kelly O, who could definitely help bolster a playoff team's end of the bench. If Kelly O were to possibly get bought out by the Utah Jazz, which I don't necessarily see happening, he could come to the Boston Celtics as his contract is below that non-tax mid-level exception. It is below that $12.4 million. I believe it's around 12.1. So Kelly Olynyk would be able to re-sign with the Boston Celtics. And in that moment, I wouldn't mind the Boston Celtics going after him. But looking at a possible trade, it would definitely be difficult for the Celtics to match around $12 million to send over to Utah. They're not going to be able to combine a bunch of their low-end guys. Payton Pritchard's not going to get involved. Al Horford's not going to get involved. So it's looking like a less likely trade candidate for the Boston Celtics, but definitely a possible buyout guy. And same thing with Delon Wright. We want to look at his stats for the Detroit Pistons, or not doing the absolute greatest. 4.4 points, 2 total rebounds, 2.8 assists. A little bit less on the shooting percentage, 38%, 37% from 3, and 81% from the free throw. Delon Wright has had some gauge with the Minnesota Timberwolves as a possible backup guard, and he makes around $8 million. So like I mentioned, with Kelly Olynyk, it is going to be difficult for the Boston Celtics to make a move for Delon Wright, as they don't really have the salaries to get a deal done. They're not going to move Payton Pritchard. They're not going to move Al Horford. They're not going to move a bunch of these end little guys to bring in a guy in Delon Wright. So a guy like Delon Wright, like Kelly Olynyk, could be acquired via the buyout market, as he does make less than $12 million on his contract. But I do think other teams that desperately need a backup point guard, like the Lakers, possibly even the Cleveland Cavaliers, or even the Minnesota Timberwolves, will be more interested and be willing to give a guy in Delon Wright a better opportunity to play more minutes, because the Boston Celtics already have a plethora of guards, in Derrick White, Jrue Holiday, and Payton Pritchard. Honestly, though, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below about these three guys. I really, really like Andre Drummond. I think he could be a vital piece for this Celtics championship team. Like I mentioned, great rebounder, great shot blocker, great rim protector, and he could also bring some depth to that front court that the Boston Celtics desperately need. We've seen Neemias Queta have some great bunches. We've seen Kornet have some great bunches, but Neemias Queta has had some bad stints, and Kornet has had some injuries recently, and we desperately need that front court depth. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I'm Bruce Veliz. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of Celtics Digest, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.